Hi, I'm Vanessa Anderson.
And I'm Stephanie Cooley.
It's time to give ourselves a moment to be real, to express all of motherhood.
Mothering is beautiful. It's wonderful.
And you know what? It's fucked up too.
Come hang out with us. We're the real motherfuckers. Hey guys. If you are listening to us on audio only, I wanted to give you a little warning. You are about to hear some weird shit for the next 30 seconds. For your viewing pleasure, you can watch our Halloween episode on Spotify or YouTube. It's cool if you just listen to us though, but you are going to miss two things. Number one, some sick dance moves. And number two, a crotch shot. Enjoy, motherfuckers. Oh my God.
Superstar, bitches. Superstar.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Halloween episode. I have facial hair and it will not stay on my face.
And I'm showing everyone my hoo-ha, you know?
Your hoo-ha.
My hoo-ha.
Your crotch.
My crotch.
The word that I'm uncomfortable saying, pussy.
Pussy. Yes, we're showing it. This is definitely the episode to watch us be in for a bit. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
I really am enjoying having chest hair.
And I was thinking about cutting my hair. I don't know. I might do it. I don't know. This wig might just grow on me. But this is the week of Halloween when we're going to be broadcasting this. And we thought, let's be ridiculous in costume, but talk about some fun things about Halloween, right? Or just this time of year.
Yeah.
So what is these things that have in common that I'm about to list?
Oh, shit. Okay.
The boogeyman.
Okay.
Darkness. Failure. These all tie into most of our fears. They're almost the basis of our fears. They're either programmed for us to feel fear, either by media or like my family fucked up enough. Like my mom what was told to me was told to previous generations. So if I was super naughty before I went to bed, my mom would be like, you better watch out because the devil's going to pull your feet. and I fucking still sleep with my legs curled till this fucking day. And I don't know if you noticed that because we had a sleepover, but I do. I bend those fucking knees because I ain't want no devil pulling my feet. But this is the truth. And, you know, fear is a universal trigger. It's a threat that, you know, for humans that when we feel harm, or sometimes it can be imagined. It can be imagined. Steph's shedding her fur.
I'm sorry. It's so much hair. I had to take off my facial hair, the lip hair, the chin hair. I'm going to keep the chest and the belly hair now.
Oh my God. So yeah, fear can be real for us or can be imagined, which I feel like is happening a lot more these days.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my stuff, I think as adults, I think a lot of it is imagined.
A lot of it's imagined, yeah. And this threat can be a threat to our physical selves. It can be a threat emotionally, psychologically. Because usually when I think fear, I'm like, oh, I feel it, right? I feel it on my body and inside. But I guess when I read this, I was like, well, duh, it's psychological. That's where you're either fearful of something or not.
When I thought about fear, because we talked about how we want to talk about what scares us for this episode, I was like, oh shit, a lot of things, I'm scared of a lot of things. Or maybe it's just because I had to think about it.
Yeah.
I was going through a list of like all the things I fear. And then I was also kind of proud of myself because there's a lot of things I used to be scared of and I'm not scared of anymore.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what today is gonna, we are gearing this towards fearful thoughts of maybe what happened to you, the present, the past, maybe even some future ones. And certain things that we see or do can trigger us to be fearful. It can be a recollection of a certain scent. It could be a recollection of a sound. It could be all
triggers.
Yeah, there's triggers from our senses. And also experiences. So say that you were stuck in an elevator or something, and then you feel it move, like when it got stuck, you'll be freaked out if you didn't heal from that.
Right.
Our fears do root from something. They're either told to us, done to us, or you've observed and it's been done to someone else and you're fearful of that happening to you.
Yeah.
So Steph, let's start with you.
Okay, I thought we could start off with things that we were scared of when we were kids.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have any of that?
Oh, hell, okay. I'm Latina. Of course I have fucking fearful shit.
Oh, yes. During the sleepover that we had, Vanessa was telling my daughter and her daughter ghost stories. And I wasn't there because I was with our boys. But she was reenacting what she told my our daughters. And I was like, oh my God.
They were
scary.
They were scared. Yeah, well, they wanted a scary story. It was their first both 9-year-old thing, and I bought a ghost story for 9-year-olds, and dude, that shit was scary. It was like fucking old little girls on a country road, a little girl that pops up and her fucking neck is down, and then when you go say hi to her, she disappears, and we live on a country road, so
yeah, you made it personal.
I made it very fucking personal.
When you were trying to tell them the story, you're like, like the road that we live on.
That we all live on. Anyway, but fear, it's funny because maybe we felt it more before these times. We had more things to be fearful, right? Like if we lived outdoors, or, when we were more, early ancestors where they had more of the nature that was threatening to them, a fucking lion or a bear, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we almost need to feel it.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's innate in us, it's part, we're programmed to feel it to survive. So it's like we almost need to exercise it to make sure we still got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So interesting that I wonder if our ancestors would laugh at the shit we're scared of now.
Maybe. I mean, they had real things to be scared of.
They're like, bitch, that ain't for real.
They were scared of dying on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly.
My big, boogeyman as a kid, my sisters, by the way, my sister hates the fact that I say that she's much older than me. Sorry. You are. Because they were older, I would watch the things that they would watch.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not appropriate for a 7-year-old to watch Twin Peaks. Had you ever heard of that show?
Mm-mm.
It's a show that's really creepy, and there was this character named Bob, and there was this one scene where he would crawl from behind the couch and grab you, or come up from behind the couch.
Was it a real person, or was it?
Okay, so I looked him up to describe who he is. It says he's an interdimensional entity who feeds on pain and sorrow. An inhabiting spirit, he possesses human beings and then commits acts of rape and murder in order to feast upon his victims.
Oh, fuck.
And he's just this sprawly looking guy with long hair. He just looks like a real person. It's just he's just a guy who looks like he's gonna do evil things.
Yeah.
So I had a childhood always fearing that.
Yeah. No, I was younger. I was 3 or 4, and I remember watching Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yep. That was definitely our time.
God damn. And I remember my whole family, which is fucked up, would know that I was scared of that, of course.
So
they would sing that song to me. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. At night. I'm like, that. Can you imagine doing that even to our kids and they're older?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about fucked up. I'll start taking donations now, family, for that one. Son of a bitches. But, so I was scared of that. I wasn't too scared of the dark. I remember having a night light, but I think it was to get to the bathroom. So I was, just scared of the devil and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. I did have because my kids are a little bit afraid of the dark, and I was like, oh, do what I used to do when I was a kid. You just run. You just have to think and visualize where are all the light switches, and you basically have the goal to hit every light switch along the way to get to your destination.
Yeah. I guess I did that too. Or just haul ass so you can't see your feet, or hide under the covers. Yeah. Until what was it, the ring, when she actually goes underneath, that shit blew that out of the water. But oh yeah, just fuck that movie. Even in college I had nightmares. But I would say I went deep. I'm like, what really threatens me? And it's anything that threatens my survival or being my optimal self. So say like I don't know, I'm in the car in a possible car accident, you know what I mean? Like say somebody slams their brakes in front of me and I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to get in a car accident. I think that's universal, but just knowing if I get in this car accident and my body's not what it's gonna be, that scares me. Like it scares me that I can't be healthy or use all my senses appropriately the way I want to be optimal. Also, um, not being mentally there. Like, so Alzheimer's scares me.
Yeah.
You know, not having control of any of my senses in my mind. That is a real fear of mine. To not be.
One of the fears that I had written down that I put as a fear I used to have was my fear of getting sick. And we've talked about this before, is like when someone would get with my disease, it's called AERD, aspirin exacerbated respiratory disease. It's a respiratory disease, but it also affects my sinuses. And when I would get sick, I would get extremely sick. Like everybody else would get a regular cold and it takes a few days. I would take weeks and I would be in agony. I would just be in bed. I would be in pain. I'd have to like go use steroids if it got really bad. I'd be breathing terribly every night, wheezing, and just feeling like, okay, like, should I go to the doctor? Should I go to the ER? Like,
Yeah.
just that. It's just, I've been able to get the help I need with a regimen that works. So now I get a cold and it's just a regular cold. Like my husband talked about how like he was like shocked when our son coughed in my face and I just didn't even care. Because before I'd like go in a spiral, like, oh my gosh, like, am I gonna get sick? Like, this is gonna just like put me out for weeks.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so you're working through that now.
Yeah,
you feel like you're
I'm done with that fear.
Yeah, that's good.
But I also can sympathize when like I see other people who do have like this fear of like getting sick.
Yeah,
I can feel it. It's like I understand.
Yeah, I think if on that same page, mine's getting sick, an illness that kills you. So
Yeah,
like God forbid cancer and not seeing my children grow up. Like that's a real fear of mine. I think for most mothers or parents that are listening out there, that's a fear for most of us, is not seeing your child become an adult. You know what I mean? That's a fear of mine. That's probably why I am obsessed with what I eat, what I do with my body, anything that's in my realm of control. That's been an obsession of mine because I have seen people die young in their 40s because of cancer. I have to also say this: when you hear those two piano notes, as a side note, but the donna,
yeah,
fucking Jaws. Okay, that scarred me. I
really
hated deep waters.
Yeah,
dark ones. I have faced my fears in so many adventurous ways that I'm so proud of myself. And I'll probably share pictures of that for Instagram and stuff. But I actually swam in a cave with just a headlamp on and nothing. Like, guys like, yeah, it's probably like 100+ feet under you. And we're not quite sure what lives in here. And he even said that. And I wanted to fucking die. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to do this. I want to have an adventure in this cave.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to miss out because of a fear. But I will tell you, I have never swam so fucking fast in my life. I had like speedboat feet, and I was the first one too. I'm like, let me be first, because I didn't want to be last and something get me. You know what I mean? I was like, I am not being last. Fuck that. I was the only ethnic one there, and you know that they eat those motherfuckers first. We must have some flavor.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have swam in the ocean. I've even swam in the ocean where Bethany Hamilton, that famous surfer, got her arm bit off when she was surfing.
Yeah.
I I didn't know that then, but I swam in that ocean. I knew after I got out that that's where that shit had gone down. But I still fear it. I was a fear of my past, still a fear now. But I try to really suppress it. And I know that's probably how you feel about the coughing and the sneezing. It's like I work so hard to bring it down in my belly and be like, just do it. But it's like a true fear of mine. Like to be eaten like that is like fucking freaky to me. That's one of the worst ways I think to die, is to be chomped chomped underwater, you're drowning and you're fucking getting fed on. Oh no.
I guess another fear that I work through too is the public speaking thing.
That's so crazy that here you are.
Yeah, well, it helps that I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
And one thing that if anybody has a fear of speaking like in a room with other people, one thing that I've found that has helped me is when it's a forum of like, who would like to say something? I always raise my hand to go first, even though it kills me inside. But I feel like if I don't raise my hand first and if I don't go first, I will sit there in agony thinking about what I'm going to say while everybody else is saying their thing.
Yeah.
And then I can't take in what everyone else is saying because I do want to learn from the other people that are saying things.
Yes.
But if I just get it over with right away, it helps.
I can't say, I mean, I don't mind talking in front of people, but I do have a clearer mind if there's an order to go first.
Yeah.
For that same reason. It's like...
It's ripping off the Band-Aid.
It is ripping off the Band-Aid. There is judgment when you're talking in front of people. People are dicks sometimes, and sometimes they're supportive, but there's judgment. There's good judgment and bad judgment when you're communicating about something.
Yeah.
I mean, at this very moment, we're being judged right now. Full holy hell. For our ridiculousness and all the shit we do, but fuck it, that's who we are. I think that's a lot of people's fears. I do...
Public speaking?
Yes.
Well... Wait, what are you going to say?
No, you go ahead and go.
Okay, I guess I have a theme of fear in my life. And it has to do with saying what I have to say that's going on in my mind. And one fear that I had, like probably the biggest fear I had growing up was my dad.
Yeah. And
I was thinking about how I was afraid of my dad because he was a very angry person. He was just always mad and like rageful, and also did the silent treatment as well. So you didn't know exactly what was going to come up.
So like walking on eggshells.
Walking on eggshells all the time. I remember having this vision. Both my parents worked, and I remember at like whatever time it was, 2:30 to 3:30 when he would come home, and I'd hear the garage opening. I wish I could measure my blood pressure whenever that garage would open, because my body would like, oh shit, okay, like I've got to close myself down and like perform and like for this guy, you know, so that I don't do anything wrong, so he's not pissed off at me, so he's not pissed off at the rest of the family, or you know, and all of us felt this way, you know, like we all had to like kind of shut ourselves down. And leading up to now, I also have this other fear. It's not a fear. It's like a nightmare that I've been having. And I've told you about this, is that when I have these nightmares, it's not anything like conventionally a nightmare. My nightmare is typically me telling my husband something and him not listening. And I think this, and I believe that there is probably some connection of like having a voiceless past, you know, like I couldn't speak my mind. What I said didn't matter. And so now it translates into my relationship now, where my fear is that I'm saying something important and it's not being heard. And my nightmare is usually me like screaming it, like eventually like saying it, like, and being like, he's not listening to me. So then I'm screaming it, and he's just like, nah. And then it just like puts me over the edge. And then I wake up like, like that for a dream just about me not being heard.
Wow. Do you feel like that you weren't heard in your family?
I do think,
like when you were younger.
I think there's an aspect of being the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being much younger.
Yeah.
So like everything I said was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know as much, and I you know, teasing was a big thing in my family as well. I mean, it's fine.
It's the way of the ethnic world.
Exactly.
That's
you know,
what it was here. Well, that's a good thing to know. And we did have this conversation before this podcast, is, you know, for families out there, know your birth order, because it does matter. And there's some things that can be changed and acknowledged. Like me being a firstborn, so her and I are different. So I'm the firstborn and she's the
I'm
baby.
yep.
So it's like there is a gift, but there's also a price of being the firstborn and the youngest because more responsibility. You're the first one to go through things. You're the one who has to handle things. It kind of does translate as you go older, and it can affect you. It is a positive thing for me because I am able to handle things. Sometimes I'm a human. Some weeks are harder.
You take on too much.
Sometimes I do take on too much.
Yeah.
I would say most of the time I take on too much, not sometimes. I'm a yes person. I really am. But I also have been acknowledging like my son, and he's the youngest, and my daughter's like, haha, that's easy. Kind of downplays where he's actually milestones should be celebrated. So I've had to say, hey, when you were that age, it was celebrated. Let's celebrate his milestones.
Yeah.
Let's not. I said, when you were 6, that was exciting for you. Like just reminding her not to downplay what he does because it makes him feel like shit.
Yeah.
Because he's truly worked so hard to get to something that everyone else has mastered, and he doesn't feel as celebrated.
What a universal situation. But to that kid, it's so personal to them. It feels as if they're the only one feeling that.
Yeah, but it's an birth order, and it's generational. It's not just specific to races. It's how many times has the oldest sibling said, "Hey, you should know better. You're the oldest, or take care of everybody.
You should have watched out for them.
You should have watched out for them. You should have known better." And for the youngest, you might have been said, "Oh, you have it easier," or
"Oh yeah,
you had it easier," or
"You could have got away with murder."
Yeah, or we'd already did that, so it was easier for you. We paved the way for you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, one's working too much, and the other one feels like they're not working enough. So how is that not fucked?
Yeah.
And how do you not balance that? You know what I mean? But I mean,
I used to be called a crybaby as a. I still do cry a lot. And
I've never really seen you cry. I have not seen you cry.
I've seen you cry all the time.
I know. Now
cry.
Now I know. This podcast, and I'm every time we do something personal, I'm on my fucking period. Like, just started. I don't know. That's probably has a lot to do with it.
Oh, I have a period-related fear, by the way.
Yeah, but I am happy that this is starting to happen for me.
Yeah, it's like starting to come out.
The waterworks is coming out. But I have never seen this bitch cry. And
I cry all the time.
I cry like, yeah, like the last time I cried was the last time we did that other podcast, right? So it's like, anyway, I had a fear of crying. I mean, I that was my next thing I'm coming to. Like, it shows weakness in a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
But it feels so freaking good when you let it out because you're not storing that blocked shit.
You know what my family used to do, or my sisters used to do? I would cry every day. And then at the end of the day, if I haven't cried, they'd say, "Stephanie, the day's almost over. You haven't cried yet.
Oh,
are you gonna cry?" And I'm like, "No." And I'd cry.
Oh my God. See, I thought you never cried either. That's a trip.
Yeah, I cry a lot. I'm not.
You hide it well.
I've talked to my therapist about this. I don't talk to her anymore. But I was like, I feel like I cry too much in front of my kids. Like, I don't know if there's no right or wrong amount to cry in front of your kids, but my kids have seen me cry a lot. And sometimes I feel like they see me cry and they're like, there she goes fucking again, crying again.
Oh yeah, that's trippy because my kids is the opposite. When they see me cry, they're like, "What the fuck happened?"
Yeah, like my kids don't even flinch when they see me cry.
Oh no, they like stop the world when they see me cry. Their eyes get big and it's like slow motion approach to me. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
And like yesterday I cried because my mom was in the hospital and they were like, "Holy fuck, this is serious." Like my mom's crying about this. Something's happening. You know what I mean? So
does your mom cry?
She does. Like, I feel like she's strong for a long time, but then she'll cry. My dad never cried until he was an adult man. So I never saw him cry. And I remember it being like instilled in me, like, don't cry. And then that when you would cry even with friends, they'd be like, "Don't cry." And they're like trying to support you. And they're like, "Don't cry."
Were you them saying don't cry takes the
I
shit,
know,
the tears
but
out.
I'm like, why would a friend say don't cry? Don't tell your friends don't cry. If they're already crying, let them fucking cry. You know?
I'm really enjoying this hair on you, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Because Olivia wants me to cut it this short.
I think it's cute.
She's like, be my twin. So yeah, I think, we all fear stuff that's from our roots and what's been your experiences, right? So I think like moving forward, I'm scared to not complete my bucket list in life. Like not seeing certain countries, not having certain experiences. Like I really don't want to leave this earth wanting more. I want to take that last breath and be like, I fucking lived every day. And then that might be why I say yes to a lot. Because I'm like, if this is my last day, I said yes, I did my best. Even if it's a bad day, what did I learn? Like yesterday I had a bad day and I like journaled. What did I learn today? What did I take from this? Okay, like obviously I don't take my family for granted, but I really don't take my parents for granted. Yesterday I'm like, thank you for another day. There was a lot of things that came, but that really, I think that's what a lot of people fear, is leaving this earth and be like, but wait, I don't want to have that but wait moment when I take my last breath. Do you feel that same way?
I don't have that strong of a sensation. I think that my husband and I talk about goals a lot, and I used to poo-poo the goal making, like, that's so lame.
Yeah.
But he's really turned me on to it, and I think it's such a great exercise. And through doing that, it's made me excited to do the things that we want to do, not fearful that I may not get to do them. It's like this mindset of like, I get to do this someday.
Yes.
Rather than I hope I don't get to miss it. I hope I don't miss it.
Yeah. And I think it does have a lot to do with like what putting it out there. I was mentioning to you earlier, it's just April when you and I like hugged at a local restaurant and we're like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I looked through our notes because some days I'm like, man, are we 2 steps forward, 1 step back? Sometimes. But I looked at the things that we wrote down then and a couple of meetings after. I'm like, we have nailed almost all of those. There's still area for growth for sure. But I was like, fuck yeah. Like, we're doing a little bit at a time. So it feels really good. But yeah, no, I love the goal oriented thing. And I'm a firm believer in what you put out is what you get. And I really try to stay positive on that stuff. But in the back of my mind, sometimes, I'm like, I don't want to be run over on my way to my,
It's funny is that one thing that people ask me all the time about something I'm fearful about, I'm not. And one of them is, when I thought about this when you were talking about swimming in the deep waters, is people often think that I'm just like so scared about my husband going on a boat 100 plus miles out in the ocean or going spear diving in the ocean. I don't know. I'm just not. I feel like maybe it's because I know that I've seen him on the boat and he's like a very cautious and like aware and alert person.
He's capable. He's got a lot of hours under his belt to know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, dude, his boat's pretty badass. If it takes him an hour to go 60 miles, he'll be running over jaws with those fucking propellers. And if he's got like something to kill something, I think maybe that's what I need. I need a spear. I don't want to kill animals, okay? When I'm in the water, like if a shark came next to me, I'm gonna respect that motherfucker. But when he looks at me and he come back and he wants that mouth opens up, the spear's gonna be in there.
The scary part is when he gets a fish and
blood.
And there's blood, and so bigger fish or sharks start circling because they smell the blood and all of that. That's when to be scared. But he's had a couple of frights and would have long stretches of not going diving because of that.
So he saw a shark come to him. Like,
yes, there's these certain seals that are kind of aggressive as well.
Yeah, see, I've never, you can ask my family, we go to Mexico and all these places, and they were like, oh, let's go swimming with the dolphins. I'm all, fuck that. Like, I'm the person that says, fuck that. They're like, why? I'm all, dude, if they want you to stay underwater, they'll fucking let you stay underwater. I'm like, I can't imagine those poor things are happy. Fucking having a 300-pound man on them. I've seen these people where I'm like, fucking, there should be a limit to these poor animals of how many rides they give a day. They can't. What if you're that one human where they're like, fuck this human?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hungry.
And they didn't feed me enough fish. I will pass, but that's crazy. No, I going back to Gabe, like, I would be scared straight up
Yeah.
if I was his wife to like his well-being.
Well, I always ask him, what's his life insurance plan?
Yeah,
Is
I know.
it ready?
Exactly. Isn't that what I told you?
Yes.
Too? I asked my husband that. He goes on his motorcycle rides, and there's been like 3 accidents this week in our town. I'm like, oh, we paid up.
Yeah.
Because I need to know I can cover our mortgage and our health insurance here.
Yeah.
You know, like all, yeah. And I mean, what's the next on your list,
Okay.
Steph?
A couple things is, okay, so now that I'm thinking about it, you mentioned that you haven't really seen me cry. And we've really started working together for the past 7 months. In those 7 months, I really have had a very good bout with my anxiety and depression. So that could be it too, is that I've just been having a good run.
Good.
And I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing and hope that it sticks.
You need to let that out.
I have this fear that it will come back.
Oh, I know.
And I have the fear that it's going to come back and be so bad that I'll feel like I'm not want to live my life. I've had suicidal ideation, all of that kind of stuff, or like really just not feeling motivated to move, do anything. Like just the feeling of wanting to just be nothing. That's my fear.
Yeah, but I think I'll just be your advocate and say you're balancing your life better now than you did a year ago.
Yeah.
And that has everything to do with it. And you're doing what you love now.
Yeah, it's true.
You're doing what you love. It is true. And even though we're doing what we love, sometimes it's overwhelming and stuff, but
I'm pretty good about being like, fuck it, I don't want to do this right now. So I
she does that to me. She's like, I don't want to fucking do this.
I actually tried to back out of this, of recording this interview today because I was like, I'm fucking pissed. I'm not in a good mood right now. Are you sure you want to record today? And you're like, whatever you want, man.
And I'm like, I ain't gonna be around that. Fuck that. But at the same time, I was like, but don't you want to laugh? Like, we're silly today. And we both could use laughter. And
it takes a lot of emotional, mental preparation before doing these interviews.
Yeah.
And I think that I was not ready to face that.
Yeah. You weren't ready to face your fear?
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay, another thing that this is a weird thing maybe. So I had experienced PMDD, which is like crazy PMS and period symptoms.
I remember that, yeah.
And for a long time I was in denial I had it. I was like, this is just like, I don't know. I just felt like I didn't have it. And every month it would come at the same time. I'd feel, again, suicidal. I felt really bad. Like me and Gabe, every time, like we would get in huge fights. I would be terrible to the kids. And it was all the time at the same time, every fucking month. And I talked to the doctor about it. She's like, you need to go probably on a birth control pill. I've talked to like naturalists as well. And like that didn't work. And then I was just so in denial about having to take a birth control pill because I was like, I'm not trying to, like, my husband has a vasectomy. I'm not trying to, like,
not have children.
Yeah. And I didn't want to ingest another, like, hormonal thing. And so now I took the damn pill and I'm fine.
It's been like what, a year or 6 months?
It's been like more than a year. And so it's like, I don't get my period. Because I already also have an IUD, which also stops your period. And so I don't have a period. So I don't experience period things.
Period.
And you know what? I'm going to admit it. It's fucking amazing.
I know.
It's amazing. I don't have the extreme highs and lows of the month. I don't deal with bleeding. I don't deal with, it's almost like I'm a fucking man and I love it.
Oh
okay.
God.
I don't deal with any of it. But I know there's going to be a time when I'm going to have to not be on this. Yeah. Like, I'm going to have to let my body take its course.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go through menopause. But I'm afraid of what that's going to be when I come off of this.
Well, I think you're doing things one step at a time, right? Like you're you had your anxiety and, you know, your depression that you're dealing with, and then your job that you let go of that made you fucking nuts and hated it.
Yeah.
It's taking off a slice at a time.
Yeah.
And then being able to handle those slices. And once you can handle a little more, right?
Yeah.
I think you're doing it the right way.
Are you afraid of menopause?
You know,
because I keep hearing about like how it changes you physically and mentally. Like,
oh yeah, I
remember my parents were in a real, like, my parents already did not have a great marriage, but then when my mom was on menopause, like,
yeah, well, I be sweating through sheets lately.
Yeah,
that's nasty. Like my husband, if you're watching, like he will. It's so embarrassing to the point where when he knows I'm starting to sweat, we share the same comforter, but he'll tuck in the sheets between us so the swamp doesn't cross the line. And I'm like mortified. I'm like so embarrassed. I literally sweat through my clothes and sweat through my sheets.
Yeah.
And I am actually
perimenopause.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And so I'm looking at possible natural hormone therapy.
Yeah.
I'm looking into it. If I do find it and it works, I'll share my experience to see if it's for somebody. But I'm looking to start that. And it's always right before I start my menstruations. It's always like 4 days before, and so it's like 6 days straight. And it's embarrassing. It feels gross. I have to it's like I peed my bed pretty much. Like that's what it feels like, and it's just crazy. So anyway, I feel for you, and I can see how that's a fearful thing, because it's like I even told Ryan, I'm like, it's like an animal takes over your body. It's like not the words that come out. You don't want. It feels like the Hulk. You know, you're like, oh.
I think the reason why I'm so fearful is because it was so bad before, and now it's so good now.
Oh yeah, you don't want.
I'm like, I just want to just embrace.
You don't want to ruin a good thing.
Yeah.
No, and if it's working for you, you know, go for it. You know me, I'm always trying the natural way, but I don't know. There's you weigh things out. Yeah. In life. What's going to benefit you more? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we always pay a price, good and bad, no matter whatever choices we make. Yeah. I'm going to have sweaty ass, pussy, and sheets, or do I start my therapy, you know? And I've been dealing with this for months. It's time. Yeah. It's time. But,
wait, what? So, sorry, can we go back to the hormone therapy? So what do they do?
Either it's shots. Okay. You know, Suzanne Summers she has a book on it. Okay. And, you know, rest in peace. I just read.
Wait, she's dead?
She passed away. Yeah.
When?
This week. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Thighmaster's gone.
I know. She did.
She made a lot of money with that.
Yeah. Well,
millions.
I saw a thing with her and Courtney Cox, and Courtney Cox is like brewing up some delicious cheeseburgers on her grill, and then they zoom in on, and Suzanne Summers is like, this looks so delicious, and then they zoom in on their thighs, and they're both doing the thigh master while they're cooking the burgers. I was like, genius. So shout out to Courtney. But anyway, she had a book, and I read this in my 20s, and I was like, wow, that's something to consider. So our hormones, they keep us rejuvenated. Our hormones, they regulate our thyroid. They regulate so much of all of our body. Yeah. I mean, all of our body works together, but it regulates a lot of our daily bodily functions, our moods, our appetites. And so when we start getting more testosterone, that's why a lot of women, we start getting weight. Yeah. We get less estrogen, get more testosterone, we get hairier. Like there's all these great gifts. Oh yeah. Elasticity.
Got that mystery one underneath the chin.
Yeah, the hairs. I'm getting mine zapped off right now. One of our sponsors. Yes. You know, tomorrow I got my second treatment. It's been working out well. But I'm not saying don't embrace these things, because I feel privileged enough to age. I really do. There is something about aging that makes me feel excited and privileged to get to that point. But there's also a part of me that's like, oh, fuck. You know, I really enjoy being youthful. I love where I am right now. Like we've always say, I got my fruit right now. I don't want that shit to rot. You know what I mean?
You know what? But my neighbor who's in her 70s texted me about, we were talking about age, and she's like, you're such a baby right now. She was like, my favorite year was my 50s and 60s. And I was like, okay, see, there's shit to look forward to.
There is. But going back to Suzanne Summers, I'll close up the explanation. she started hormone therapy, and it was like, so they draw blood and they check your hormone levels, and wherever you are deficient, they replenish with supplements or injections.
Okay.
So, and there's natural products out there that you can use to do this, even in Ayurveda medicine. And I do take those supplements, and they have helped me tremendously. They've helped me in my 20s when I would get very extreme bad cramps where I would be folded over.
Yeah.
And that I'll share that herb is called amalaki, and it regulated my period. And it also took away a lot of my pain. And this is not just like I took it the day before. It's like you take it for a while for your body to soak it in. So if you're having that, I definitely recommend the supplement amalaki, and that can be in powder form or pill form. But yeah, so I'm doing research right now in a couple of facilities, and I'm going to have consultations soon.
Okay.
So we can talk about that later, and maybe have even someone else on menopause. So
yes,
and a lot of us do fear this
we need
stage.
To have someone on menopause,
and a lot of us do
menopause
fear this stage.
And perimenopause.
Yeah, because we fear it because it's like you're shedding your youth, and we're so obsessed with youth in our country that when we become old, we're expired. We're not beautiful anymore. I mean, it's becoming better. Thank God the generation above us has made it beautiful. Like they've taken care of themselves better, and we have a better example of what that could look like. But yeah, that's I guess a fear too. I would say that this one would almost be on the top of my list. Is my children being harmed, and passing, and how dealing with that. Like, say your child is kidnapped, abused. We've had a sex trafficking guest, hearing her go through that experience, and me, like I said on the podcast, she was somebody's daughter. Like having that happen to my daughter or my son, I don't know how I could handle that pain of knowing that they went through that. Like you dealing with a part of your heart and soul, something that you take care of and love and nourish. Like it's everything. My whole purpose is for them since I've had them, and like to have that ruined is just, it breaks my heart. Like I don't know where I would go for healing. Like I don't know where I would even start.
Yeah,
like that's a big one for me. And for those listening, I'm pretty sure it's yours too. If you're a parent,
it is.
It's a big one.
It is a big one for me too.
Yeah, like we recently have a mutual friend that lost their son, and she wakes up every day and has to deal with that pain. And I remember when my grandma lost my aunt, and my aunt was 43, she said, "This is the worst pain I've ever had in my life. And every time I wake up, I always hope that it was a dream." And it was just a pain that never would go away in her heart. And I remember her randomly crying when I'd visit her, and and it hurts. She says it's not a pain that ever goes away. It's just something you learn to deal with.
Right.
Yeah. So
that is one thing that I've learned, is that whatever feeling you have, it doesn't help to try to shove it away.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement is the first step.
Yes. No, I have someone that's a family member of mine, and I love her dearly, and she lost, her daughter, and I look up to her because I'm not going to say she's like moved on. That's not even the right word. Is that she decided to live for her daughter, and she has other people to live for as well. And she didn't want that darkness to weigh her down so much that she didn't enjoy the rest of her life. And I admire that. And I know I can only imagine how much it takes her every day to feel that way, and to strive to be that, and to still find joy and laughter and look forward to things and be there for others, even though she still feels that heaviness.
Yeah.
I admire that. And I just, yeah, I appreciate seeing somebody going through something so hard and still finding that genuine smile and that genuine gift in the day.
Yeah.
Like, what a gift to us to see someone strive and do that when it's so fucking hard to do. And like I said, I just don't even know where I would start. That's like, yeah.
Okay. Can we go over one thing that I did? I want to be careful. Should I say? I'm promoting hypnosis, if that's something that I want to say. Is obviously do your research on who you're working with on hypnosis. But I worked with my coach on um, hypnotizing me of a fear that I had, and it's a fear of driving. Um, and I think that you can do hypnosis on a lot of things. And I think that there's a big misconception about what hypnosis is. And I think a lot of people think that it's someone telling you what to do.
Mm-hmm. It's like the little cartoons that we used to watch when we were a kid.
You're getting very sleepy, and I'm tricking you to do crazy shit on stage.
Exactly.
You know, like pull down your pants, like that kind of stuff. And what I've learned through my coach is that hypnosis is only your subconscious talking to you. It's not the person who is doing it. They're just kind of like the messenger, mm-hmm. but they have nothing to do like it. So the people who say hypnosis is doesn't work, it's because your subconscious really didn't want you to do that. Mm. And I had this fear of, I thought of going in, I was like, I want to go and fix my issue with being sleepy while driving. And I would drive for like 20 minutes and feel sleepy. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't even like drive 20 minutes without having to like pull over and like feel like I need a rest. But when we got further into it, we talked deeply about what it came, where it was coming from. It also had to do with like, I was a lot as a kid stuck in a car with my parents fighting. So I feel like it was one of those things where it was like a coping mechanism for me to go to sleep.
Totally.
Because I couldn't go anywhere. I was trapped in a car. We went one time. We went to Yosemite from LA.
Oh God.
And I think they got in a fight like right in the beginning. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Okay, I guess I'm going to go take a nap for like 20 hours.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It's trippy when you start realizing, oh, this is why I do this. This is why I do that. And and this is what I'll say. Before I had children, I wanted to deal with myself before I brought a child into the world. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, that's the scariest fucking thing you'll ever do.
Yeah.
Is look yourself in the soul.
Answer to yourself.
Answer to yourself without distractions and really dig deep and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
you
scary.
Did this before. I mean, I'm still working on it.
Well, I mean, I think it's a lifetime of work, but it was like being real about like, you know, the way I was parented or any, you know, say your friends did something to you that made you upset, like small things to big things, right? Like, why do I people please? Which I don't do as much. Now I like choose. And people pleasing me meant like barely knew you, wanted to entertain you. You know, to like maybe shield who I really was and didn't want to share yet kind of thing, I guess. It was like a protective mechanism for people to accept me and to not judge me because that wasn't me. You know, that kind of thing. You know, the stuff that some of us do naturally as an adolescent, but really digging deep and deeper, like, why do I do that? Why did I do that? And once you answer the first question, you should keep asking yourself 5 times, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because you get deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yes, that's basically what my hypnosis session was.
Yeah.
Is she kept asking me a series of questions, which were all very related. And I was like, fuck, Deb, like, what are you doing to me? I was just coming here to talk about my sleepiness while driving. Now you're making me like uncover all these feelings about my self-confidence, about how like all these other deeper feelings, which is what needs to happen in hypnosis is like really finding that root. And I will say that I'm not afraid of driving anymore. I even volunteer to drive.
Yeah, she drives me around all the time.
Yeah.
You do a good job.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I know I'm not that great of a driver.
Yeah, you are, dude. You backed up a big ass truck at Balboa Park with like I was
so sweaty and stinky.
Fucking man, that. I was like, I don't know how she did that. I would have hit the cars for real. With all the technology, fucking hit them straight up. Oh my God. But so I don't know. You know, I mentioned a couple things in my past. I'll mention one more thing in my past, one more thing in my future, just quickly. We can just briefly.
You don't have to do quickly.
I used to be scared of dead people.
What do you mean?
Their actual physical bodies.
Oh, like what? Like, did you go to funerals a lot?
Yes. So, but you know, the zombie movies and all that bullshit used to scare me, and so just death alone used to freak me out. I'm like, they're not there anymore.
You know what's a weird phenomenon is like embalming.
Yes, and then that whole thing. So my one of my aunts used to work at a funeral home.
Okay.
She was one of like the directors and sold plots and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
me and my cousins, we would actually play at the cemetery sometimes because she'd be working there and like running around and like we'd read the stones and and I always felt like a heaviness, like weird, like something.
I do think that you are a being that feels other.
Yes.
I don't know what to call
entities.
Dimensions, like spirits. I do feel like you have a stronger sense of that.
Yeah, I always felt like, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Like a fucking song. Like, that's how I felt. I remember there was a bathroom in there and I was like I just always felt deeply watched. When you have like someone staring at you and you don't want that person to stare at you.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. But so that's how I felt when we were playing. But my aunt, I guess there was this man and no one had gone to his funeral. She was there. No one. She goes,
"That's sad."
Yeah. So I think it must have been. I was in 7th going on 8th grade. I remember this. And she goes, "Do you guys want to sign his book because nobody's here? Like we're about to shut the casket." And so like I remember signing this book with my cousins after we had done that, and then we walked down and I remember seeing this old man and just like looking at his body and it just like creeped me out. Like just.
Oh wait. No one came?
Nobody came.
How sad.
Super
That's really
sad.
sitting with me right now.
I know, super sad. There's another fear there, people. No one coming to your funeral. But
yeah.
I mean, well, who knows what that man did, or he could have been only sibling. There's so many other factors to it.
So many factors.
But
wait, are we going to talk about the fact that you like had a ghost?
Well, that or we save it for Kelly.
Oh, okay. All right.
Stay
tuned for a future episode
of ghosts.
Ghosts
and stuff. And just kind of going back to it, that's probably why I was scared of dead people, because I would always feel something after they would pass.
Right.
I would feel something and question it, not know. Like even now talking about it, I'm getting like a little bit nervous. Like it was hard to process. I didn't know what to feel. It was like, I'm feeling this. Are you feeling this? And if you're not feeling this, why am I feeling this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels heavy because it's an energetic thing.
Yes.
So it just feels like almost like a weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you that weight is not imaginary. It's really there.
Yeah. Like my heart races. I feel heavy. So I can't wait to ask Kelly, which, no spoiler alert, but we are having someone in the future to talk about these sort of things. And it's going to be very exciting. And we have met her before and she's done readings for us.
Yeah.
For my 40th birthday. And I had never done that before. So we are going to be doing that. But yeah, so that used to scare me. Doesn't scare me that much anymore.
Okay.
I've kind of broken down, like, why was I scared of it? And then the logic of why I was scared of it, I'm like, well, is that really valid? Is that, can they hurt you? I believe I can protect myself. If that, if people truly exist, that realm exists, there's just as much bad as there is good. I choose to bring in the good and protect myself if I can. I do believe in God. I do pray. So, allowing that kind of stuff to happen. But the cool thing is I have experienced it with my husband, and since he's been with me, he has heard and things with me.
How validating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've also had other friends in my childhood see things with me.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of them, Laura, if you hear this, you better fucking comment on the episode. But yeah, that will be something I share for Kelly's. Okay. Yeah. It's been happening my whole life. And so, but I used to fear dead people because of that feeling. And because of movies. Because, I mean, who can explain that as Catholic? They'd be like, you devil. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, those are Satan's people or whatever. So, anyway, and I guess what I feared and don't fear anymore is being physically weak. I used to be very thin and not have muscles and not be able to, like, protect myself as much as I could. I mean, I could still hold my own, but because I was so thin all the time, and people always would, even that used to be my nickname, flaca, in Spanish is skinny, Then I put on some pounds, putting back beers in college.
Yeah.
Like I didn't just do the freshman 15. I did like the freshman 40.
Yeah.
I got some serious ass. Like, it was thick.
Yeah.
Which is like fine. Like, if you're eating Denny's at 2 a.m. and you're having your short stack pancakes with bacon, you're gonna get a fat ass. Like, with beer, I mean, that's the perfect combination for like the best, fat booty. Which is fine. But then I become health conscious, and I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be able to protect myself. But even now, I don't want to be physically weak. I want to be able to hold my own, to protect myself, to do the labor that I enjoy, to do the physical things I enjoy and that require muscle. So being weak mentally or physically, I feared not being able to reach the bar of something that's present to me. Like, say I have to run fast, or a dog attacks me and I can't get it off me. You know what I mean? I want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Defend myself and my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Past? Was your one more past, one more future, or whatever you got?
I think that even though I mentioned my dad and being like, that was like thematically the thing that I was, or the person that I was scared of the most, even though I watched scary ass movies and all of that. As I've grown older, as I've talked to moms about their experiences on this podcast, also talking to Steph McKay and talking to her about how her husband went to war and, has seen things that we'll never understand. It reminded me, gosh, like I had a dad who fought in Vietnam War and never talked about it. And I'm sure the military back then did not try to push therapy then, because it still doesn't push therapy now.
God, no.
And was very much a sign of weakness to do that. You're weak and you're crazy if you want to try to get help. And I do find less anger and I'm not fearful because he's no longer with us, but I do feel less anger about my past fear of my dad.
Oh yeah, you're becoming more empathetic about why he was that way.
Right.
That's healing.
Yeah.
To understand that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that whole, I mean, God forbid we don't ever have to experience that on our soil. We've been very fortunate, but you just, that's happening right now as we speak. As we're recording this, we have, Israel is, losing lots of their citizens, and it's just an unfortunate thing. I mean, we still have Ukraine going. There's war happening every day. And there's things that even if you're not fighting the war, you're still fighting it with your family, and I mean, I don't even know what to say. I hope that if they have the chance to live, that they're able to find light in their life after those traumas.
Can you imagine the level of fear they have? It almost seems like the fear that we talked about in the last 58 minutes seems ridiculous.
Yeah. It's all perspective.
It's all perspective, not to diminish how we feel, because everyone's experience is their own.
And it's relative.
Exactly. But it is nice to get that perspective.
It is. And I'm glad you went there, because that's where I wanted to go with this.
Yeah.
Is, I would say, I have a list more, but I would say, if you guys are listening, it is so healthy to do this, to write down what you're fearful of. Because I also feel like after I wrote it down and really analyzed it, it was another step of me not being as scared of it.
Yeah.
It was like a way of like being like, oh, am I really scared of that? Why? Well, what happened? Have you been bit? It was a game I used to play. We used to pull our legs down when we were swimming, and then at night we would play shark. And I remember we would do that. Like, someone was a shark and you couldn't see them, you had to jump in, and they would swim to you and they'd pull you. Me and my cousins would play this.
God.
I know. So of course I had nightmares about that shit.
I would not join, and I would be crying.
I know. And why did I fucking jump in the water? Because I said yes. No, but and just with my heart with this is everything is relative. This is scary to us because we have, God forbid, knock on wood, haven't had something, and not to say it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Bigger to us. you know, but this was big to us. You know, those people that are going through that will be able to handle this list with no problem, hopefully, you know, and I hope that they find their way to heal through this if, you know, the opportunity is given to them or if they can find it themselves. But yeah, I do know that the common fear triggers, can I go over that? Can we do that? So there's common fear triggers that, and this is on, I looked this up on pauleckman.com, and they did a study, and the common fear triggers are darkness or loss of visibility of surroundings. That was one of the top ones. The second one is heights and flying. The third one is social interaction and rejection. The fourth is snakes, rodents, spiders, and other animals. And the let's see, the fifth one is death and dying. Those are the top ones that are feared amongst human beings. And they did a bunch of countries, I guess. It was just not the United States. This was like universally what people fear. So
I could see all of that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like I said, go back to the beginning of time. I mean,
remember that scene in what's that movie? The Silence of the Lambs.
I do remember that movie, but
in the end, the bad guy turns off all the lights, and I think she doesn't have her like night vision on, and so she's just like in the pitch black.
Oh yeah.
And like I was just like clenching my butt cheeks, like, oh my god.
Scary, man. So scary. It is, and it's funny because right now as we're recording this, and I'm a big believer in like collectively whatever we put in is like what we feel in the atmosphere. We obviously go to Home Depot in these stores. There's like spooky things because Halloween in the United States is spooky. So we're all kind of feeling a little spooky, you know. Yeah. And even my kids, you know, at night right now, this time of year, because it is naturally getting darker, like I notice my son is more scared of the dark right now.
Yeah.
There's this little fear because they're feeling it. They're seeing it. It's a universal thing. So it's like being conscious of it.
In the United States, I think we're different from other countries who do Halloween or around this type of holiday, is that everyone else takes it spooky. Like people's costumes are spooky. Americans do the like other takes on costumes. Everybody's costumes are spooky around the world, but we do like this funny costumes.
Funny, slutty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the slutty.
Yeah. Yeah. The slutty. Yeah, it's interesting. Is there anything you'd like to add? I have a cool poem that I found. Would you like to add anything else? So thank you guys for listening. So this poem is from the novel Everyone Has a Story, which I loved this one because it said that everyone has a story, because that's something that Steph and I have been talking about. She's also said this in her Substack, so it's kind of really, really nice. It spoke to me. I'm like, this just fits. So here it goes. Not the people, but the mind. Not the storm, but the silence. Not the answer, but the question. Not the result, but the reason I am scared of. Not the real, but the dream. Not the moment, but the memory. Not the lie, but the truth. Not the death, but the life I am scared of. Not the end, but the start. Not the strangers, but the known. Not the hate, but the love. Not the world, but the me I am scared of. I thought, damn, I'd like to end with that.
I love the poetry.
I love poetry too. Snap, snap, snap. But with all seriousness, I encourage you to face your fears and see what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.